tiny apartment has a lot of advantages. It's generally cheaper to rent, located closer to attractive areas like downtown entertainment districts, and has its own cozy charm. However, it's hard to figure out how to decorate tiny apartments. All too often, the decoration of tiny apartments falls into the trap of thinking about the functionality of the space rather than tiny apartment design. This is not the case. You don't have to strip your small apartment bare just because of its square footage. Your decor can still be plenty stylish. The key is to be smart about how you use space. Balancing space and design is the most important thing for tiny apartment living. It needs to be comfortable, good-looking, and manageable. Your tiny apartment needs to be filled with things that fulfill your needs as well as show off your favorite aesthetic. Here are some great tiny apartment ideas to help decorate your small apartment in plenty of smart styles. Rethink your unused spaces. It can be hard to think in a new way about somewhere you've lived for a while. You get stuck in routine thinking. You have your set places of storage, your extra boxes and wicker baskets tucked under your bed. However, you might still not be using all the space available in your apartment. Take a look around your tiny studio apartment and identify the dead spaces that aren't being used. There are probably unused corners and blank walls. Once you've spotted these spaces, start thinking of ways to use those spaces. If you have a large windowsill, use it as a workspace. Look into getting corner shelves to use that corner that's been sitting empty. Try placing a few baskets or boxes on top of your fridge to keep extra plates and utensils. Even if you have a very small apartment, you can find lots of unused space that's begging to be used. Use layers for extra depth. Tiny apartment designs tend to lack depth because they're so small. There's simply not very much room. You can help add depth by layering the design in some very simple ways that don't take up that much room. Use shadow boxes on your walls and add throw rugs to cover your old, bet-up carpeting. Use multiple blankets and throw pillows on your bedding and seating to add depth while giving the space a cozy feel. You can find many areas that will benefit from layering. Remember, layering is more than just stacking tiny apartment design elements on top of each other, even if it might seem that way. Instead, it's a carefully thought-out exercise in the creation of contrast. Select items you want to layer based on their varying patterns, textures, and colors. Add boldly patterned pillows to a neutral sofa. This will create an intriguing sense of depth and balance. Follow the floating design trend. Avoid using bulky furniture in your tiny apartment. This will make the space seem even smaller and close it off. Use tiny apartment furniture instead for your small apartment and add floating elements. This will open up the space, allowing the eye to travel all the way through it, as well as maximize the functionality of your small apartment. Use floating shelves in place of a bookcase. Look into a floating sink instead of a more traditional large vanity. Furniture with legs will take up less space, both physically and visually, than furniture that sits directly on the floor. Look for airy pieces, like see-through acrylic coffee tables or ones with open metal bases. These elements have an airy feel that helps your tiny apartment seem less crowded. Beyond the practicalities, use floating design in your decor. This will help tie the look together. You can use floating shelves of varying sizes to create a gallery-like display, then staggering them to add a fun twist of personality. Fill those shelves with a diverse array of objects, including art, photos, sculptures, and other accessories. This is an easy way to create an in-home art installation that reflects your personality and keeps your home from being boring. Match curtain color to wall color to create a larger sense of space. Choose curtains that blend with your walls. This creates an unbroken line and helps the room seem bigger. Look for scaled-down furniture pieces. Smaller furniture is better for a tiny apartment. Tiny apartment furniture is pretty easy to find these days, even for traditionally bulky items like couches and armchairs. This kind of furniture is often more narrow than traditional furniture. These petite items are also often very budget-friendly. Have furniture pull double duty. You can make good use of a lot of furniture in multiple ways. Use an old stool as an end table and seating. An ottoman with a tray on top can work as a coffee table that is easily made into extra seating. A bench can double as a bookcase when it's not being used. Be creative and start seeing what else things can be used for. Use sneaky storage. Keep your tiny apartment from becoming cluttered by using furniture with a bit of extra space to store things. You can place baskets on the lower shelf of a coffee table, or tuck boxes beneath a bench. Purchase over-the-door hangers for your doors to create more hanging space for jackets and sweaters. There are a number of ottoman designs with removable tops and storage space inside. Use every available space as storage to keep the clutter from overwhelming the small space in your tiny apartment. Create wall displays. Hang up your jewelry. Get a nice-looking cutting board and hang it up. These items will serve as unique art displays as well as clear out all your drawers. Things to avoid when decorating a tiny apartment. Don't drape curtains right above window frames. Don't drown the room in too many patterns. Don't clutter your tables with lamps and photo. Don't buy an oversized sofa. Don't use cabinets in your small bathroom. Don't use too many dark colors. Conclusion: decorating a tiny apartment can be a challenge, but all it takes is some flexible thinking and careful planning.